Man versus gun.
Hey shooters, here's the Glock. This is actually a Glock 22, which is a 40 cal, but I run a 22 conversion barrel in it, so I call it my Glock 17 because that's basically what it is. Let's do the weight. The weight for the empty Glock 9mm is 1 pound 10.8 ounces. It is empty. You can tell by the trigger pull back there's nothing in the chamber. We got an empty mag here too. Okay, let's look at the width. The widest spot on the Glock is the slide release, and I've got a competition, a Glock OEM competition slide release on this. A little more purchase there, and we're looking at 1.264, which makes it not really nice and thin. That benefits when carrying it concealed. Is the flatter the better. The receiver is plastic, which is really nice. It doesn't get as hot as any type of metal, whether it's steel or aluminum. So that's why one of the reasons the plastic handguns seem to be very popular. They're lightweight and they don't get as hot in the sunlight as steel ones do. The back strap, this is a Gen 4, so it does come with interchangeable back straps. I run it without any of the additional back straps. It fits my hand better that way. Fits my body better that way, I should say. I'm able to take the handgun with my eyes closed and push it out and present it and then open my eyes, and it's pretty much on target. Not exactly, but pretty dang close. There is no adjustable side panels, but the side panels are checkered, from the factory. Good checkering. Trigger pull on this particular specimen is 5.4 pounds, which is good, but the trigger pull, like all Glocks, there's nothing to write home about. There's some take up, and this has quite a few rounds through it, so the take up isn't kind of rocky like it can be. There's some take up, then you hit a wall, but then after you hit the wall, there's still some creep in there. You can see it. There's the wall. Watch the creep. See that? More creep, and then it goes. Reset on it on Glocks is very positive. There's the reset right there, and then you're at the same wall. There's no slack, but it's the same wall, and you still have that creep after the wall. That's just the way Glocks are. No big deal. Through training and stuff, you can get over it. Not that big a deal. The good news is the trigger pull is the exact same every time. There isn't two different trigger pulls. With a Glock trigger pull, it is what it is every time you pull the trigger. And that's a good thing. Consistency on the trigger pull is, even if it's not the best trigger pull in the world, as long as it's consistent, that's what we're looking for. We only have to learn one trigger, and that's a good thing. Okay. So let's look at the magazine well. The magazine well is flared on all four sides, front, back, and both sides. That's a good thing. It helps aid magazine insertion. The magazine themselves, this is just a training 10-rounder, but this would be a 17-rounder, and that's as many rounds you can physically stick in it, so that's a good thing. The base plate on Glocks for Type 3, for one-handed Type 3 malfunction clearance drills, you do have this gap here that it is able to catch on a belt or a holster or a belt buckle or your shoes sometimes. But in my estimation, the OEM Glock base pad is inadequate. There's no way to grab it on the side. It doesn't stick out at all. What I have done with all my Glock magazines is I've replaced them with the Vickers base plate. This is a much better base plate than the OEM, and you'll see why here. Not only does it give you the same gap here in the front, but it also gives you great purchase here on the sides. It does increase the width of the base a little bit. You can sand those down a smidgen if you want, but it makes it really nice for doing one-handed Type 3 malfunction clearance drills. So I run these in all my Glocks. Vickers base plates, they're worth getting. Okay, the safety on the Glock is in a great location. It's right here in the trigger. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to deactivate anything. You just put your finger in there and pull. And since it is in the trigger there, it works equally well, left-handed, right-handed. So it is, you know, in essence, it is mirror image. The slide catch, Glock touts this as a slide catch, not a slide release. But people use it for a slide release also. It is on one side only. It is not mirror image, one side only. So if you do use that as a slide release, then when you're using it left-handed, you either have to use your finger, which is possible, or you just bypass it altogether and just use the slide. Either one. So it is. There are workarounds with all the different firearms that we test. There are workarounds. Even though they may be deficient in human engineering, like this Glock is, that should be mirror image, but you know it's not. Okay, the magazine release is in you know the spot that all magazine releases are these days, right behind the trigger. The bad part is it is not mirror image. Yeah, you can switch it around so you can have left-hand eject, but it's not mirror image. So that took a hit for that. Should be mirror image. Okay, let's talk about the sights on Glocks. Sights that come from the factory on Glocks totally suck. They're plastic. They're really, the front sight is about as wide as a car. The sights that come from the factory with Glocks suck. So they get a 1 for each, which is not good at all. So as soon as I get a Glock, I replace it with something. This particular Glock happens to have a fiber optic front and a Dawson rear. I like those sights. Even though this is somewhat sloped, it is able to do Type 3 malfunction clearance drills. But for the purposes of the man versus gun spreadsheet, I'm pretending this has Glock OEM sights on it, and they suck. Okay, it does have a light rail for lights or lasers or whatever, but it does have only one slot, so it takes a little bit of a hit for that. There's other handguns that have as many slots as possible out here, and that's more options is better than one option. So it takes a little bit of a hit for that, but at least it has a light rail. And this particular Glock is not optics compatible. So let's talk about magazine insertion with the Glock. There we go. That gets a 5. In my experience, if you have a little bit of tolerance there to work with, so when the magazine pushes in, if it comes back out at all, in my experience, you're better. Odds of flubbing the magazine insertion are a lot less. On some makes, the magazine doesn't click until it's up there all the way, and you just don't have any room to play with there. This is good. So let's go do some shooting and see how it does. Alright, shooters back in the range, Glock 17. Glock, it's the first successful polymer handgun by far. The most widely used polymer handgun by far. And the reason it is used so much around the world is because the dang thing works. It works and it works and it works. Now, it's not the most comfortable handgun to hold. I have never, ever heard anybody say, wow, this Glock feels like it was made for my hand. I've never heard that. Maybe some of you out there feel that way, but if you've handled different kind of firearms, the Glock feels like some people derisively call these the block because it feels kind of blockish. But it works. And it works, and it works, and it works. Ultra reliable. It's an accurate handgun. The trigger pulls the same every time. That's a good thing. What else can I say? The Glock is the most widely used polymer handgun in the world for good reason. So, thanks for watching. I enjoyed making the video. Hope you enjoy watching them. We'll see you next time.